This was my drawing with my Lamy fountain pen, and it's not watercolor paper. This is just cheap sketchbook. But I'm just going to experiment and just try and do a line and wash painting. And because it's such cheap paper, I'm not going to get away with overworking it with watercolor, so I'm going to have to keep it fresh. But I want to just test to see, would this paper do the job if I took it away with me just to do a little bit of sketching and pen and wash for demos to paint when I get back. It seems to actually take the paint okay. Actually, it's a bamboo paper. I bought it from a shop called Action in France, which I suppose in the UK something like B&M or something like that maybe. Just sell all sorts of household bits and bobs. But so you could do this on watercolor paper and it would be more effective. But on my other channel, Loose Watercolors Robert May, I've just done a full demo of this, painting it as I normally would on watercolor paper. So it's on my membership site, tier 2 of my website. If you want to watch that, you can join and check that out. That can catch you out the wires. I've got to paint underneath it, but I'll do. So I became interested in having a go at some line and wash recently, and got myself a fountain pen to draw with. I think the idea is to keep it all very translucent because you want those pen marks to come through. So this is just practice. So I think it's probably a case of simplifying. I simplified a lot of things with my drawing, but simplifying even more with the paint. So it dries quite quickly, so it'd be very difficult to do wet into wet painting on this paper that's not watercolor paper. Not recommended, but maybe for pen and wash it'd be all right. We're just sketching. Let's try a little bit of wet into wet and see what happens. That's the right value there. And I suppose I think of the line and wash method, which I'm say totally new to, more like perhaps the way I paint oils, where try and put the marks down minimal amount to keep it as fresh as possible, because you want the line work to do some of the work or a lot of the work. And keep your washes translucent. So we've got a shadow coming off of there. Shadow under the eaves. Tempted to throw a shadow across there. I did that in my proper watercolor version. But I don't want to overwork it. I regret that. Never mind. What's done is done. So just a few bits of detail. Use a bit of blue, cobalt blue with a bit of dried up white gouache. Some blue shutters and maybe even a blue door. Blue sky in that window. And with some yellow, green, warm it up a little bit. A rose bush. A few little tufts of green there, and there's a bush there. Car. Ooh. Just needs that dark underneath. I wasn't totally sure about the positioning of the figures in my original painting, but ended up throwing a big shadow across here, which I think worked okay. I won't do that on this one. I should try and keep it as simple as possible. Directional lines. It's quite good fun just doing something very loose and just not getting too invested with it. a little bit weak. I think maybe I'll make more of those trees. That one just acts as a bit of a stop. So that was me just messing about, really. I say it's not proper watercolor paper, it's just a cheap sketchbook. It's actually bamboo paper, but it actually took the watercolor quite well, actually. That you know, certainly when I'm out and about, I could do a little line drawing and you know, just do a little sketch like this and then work it up into a proper demo on my watercolor channel. So this was I did it the opposite way round, really. So that was the reference image, which is a little village in France, Crevant. So that was the demo I did on my tier 2 of my watercolor channel. I ended up putting a shadow across here because I think these were just sticking out too much, so I think that works quite well. And so that was the pen and wash, which I'm learning at the moment, and I think it's a case of keeping those translucent washes and let that pen work come through. So just take practice, but quite enjoy playing about with that. So I hope you found that video interesting, and if you want to see how I painted that one, that's available on my website, tier 2 watercolor membership. So there we go. Until next time, bye for now.